starting a new series where we're going to talk about e-commerce stuff. We wanted to figure some things out, considering the optimization fixes, any of the challenges that e-commerce has, and any other problems that might arise in this field. And the very first issue that we are doing for this series is with MyAlice. And I would like you to meet Shuvo. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Paulina. Thanks for having me here. So, yeah, I'm Shuvo, founder of MyAlice, which brings conversation and commerce together.
Okay, that sounds for now maybe a little bit complicated. Can you explain a little bit more what does MyAlice do?
We started working on MyAlice by following a few macro trends in e-commerce, I would say. So, if you think about the pandemic, what it did is it actually advanced the e-commerce industries of 10 years growth in 3 months. In the same way, Shopify has grown more than 2 times in the last couple of years as well, which means that there are lots of new stores coming up. There are lots of new businesses are moving more towards the D2C segment as well. And while there are new businesses is coming up, all these new businesses have to follow some specific strategies to make sure they provide the exceptional customer service. Because think about Amazon, they provide exceptional customer service. So once you have your own D2C business out there, you somehow need to sort of compete against Amazon as well. And to do that, what we have seen, the macro trends says us that all these new businesses, they are becoming very much available in social media and messaging channels, because that's where the customers actually live. We see different projections in different countries, like in Southeast Asia and South Asia. You'll see a lot of usage of Messenger, Instagram. In Middle East and few countries of the Southeast Asia as well, you'll see a massive usage of WhatsApp. If you go more towards the North American industry, there is still email and live chat out there, but the Instagram and few other different channels are increasing in terms of customer volume as well. So when you are serving your customers in the social media and messaging channel, meaning you are making your sales or support or maybe your marketing from all these channels, there is sort of data discrepancy, because you are messaging your customers and then you are maintaining their orders in your maybe Shopify or WooCommerce store, meaning you don't have all the data into one single place. And also when you are serving them in multiple channels, you need to use multiple software to maintain that as well. So thinking about this problem, we actually built a unified inbox where you can connect all your social and messaging channels, and you can connect your e-commerce together as well. Which means when you are talking to your customers, you can see all their e-commerce related histories. You can create their order for them. You can see their website navigation history, like which products they have seen, which products they have bought or put there into cart. So it helps you to understand your customer better and provide them better customer support as well. And on top of that, you can actually design a lot of conversational automation. So for example, when it's odd time and the customer is coming up with a request to see any product, you can automatically send the product to the customer and eventually close the sales as well. So yeah, that's how we are bringing the conversation and commerce together.
Sounds pretty impressive. Maybe a stupid question, but is it people who answer those chats, or is it like robots or chatbots?
It can be both. You can have the unified inbox for your agents as well. If you have support agents or support people online, they can do that. And let's say whenever you don't have any support people, or maybe you want to do some marketing automation through conversations, then you can design that automated journey as well.
So basically, you just saw the problem on the market. You have to have a unified sort of place for all the chats, and that's how you got the idea for MyAlice, right?
Not only the market, honestly speaking. So I was a software engineer in my early days career, and when I sort of left my job and started my own business, which was a tech company, I was also helping my wife to run her e-commerce store. She runs a boutique store, so sort of sells customized dresses from her Shopify store. So as I was helping her, I was seeing that majority of the customers that she had were coming from Instagram and Messenger. And she was maintaining the conversations in one place, and then she was maintaining the Shopify in different other places. And whenever customers ask for placing any order or maybe updating any order or anything related to the e-commerce, she needed to check all different other softwares to understand about the customer. So at that time, we are seeing there are loss of customers and loss of sales as well, because sometimes a lot amount of customers come in maybe specific days like Black Friday and things like that. And we also saw that in a lot of cases, she had to waste a lot of time, juggle between softwares to understand more about the customer. So that's where I sort of understood that we need something, a solution maybe, where we could unify all the inboxes and the e-commerce together. And yeah, being a software engineer, I started developing a prototype, and then I tried out in different other markets as well.
From our side at RedTrack, what we see is one of the biggest, let's say, challenges of the last year in e-commerce was the implementation of iOS 14 and how it significantly damaged the performance of all e-commerce stores and the advertising that they do. How do you formulate for yourself the main challenge of e-commerce in this last year?
There are lots of challenges, honestly speaking, and it sort of changes region to region, demographics to demographics. So it also changes from countries to countries as well. So there are a few problems that are very much region specific, I would say, and there are problems that are almost all around the globe. So for example, the problem we talked about where e-commerces were mostly damaged for the iOS updates. Imagine that's mostly the big e-commerces, because they have huge marketing spend, and that sort of was cut off for these updates. But I think for the big e-commerces or enterprise e-commerces, that's the major struggle. But we are talking about the SMBs, the new e-commerces, the new entrepreneurs that are coming in. Maybe they don't have a big team size, but they're doing okay. They're growing. And once they're growing, they're having multiple problems. So in our opinion, or our ideal customer base are those who actually sells a lot from socials or does a lot of marketing campaigns from socials. Because when they're doing that, they have to maintain their social channels in one place and inventory in other place, which hampers their growth strategy because they don't have any data relevance and they need to juggle between a lot of softwares. So I'd say for this particular segment, SMBs, growing e-commerces that are very much focused in social and conversational commerce, this is a very huge pain point for us. But there are different problems for different industries, different specific segments as well.
How would you recommend to start the social commerce journey? Like, what should be the size of your business, for example, if you want to implement this kind of solution? And what are the steps that you recommend to take to make the best of your social commerce, conversational commerce journey? Let's call it this way.
If you are new e-commerce, first of all, or maybe if you are not new, but if you are mostly available in marketplaces, but you now want to come out of the marketplace because you want to build your own brand. When you are selling in Amazon, it's basically Amazon. It's not your brand. But when you are coming out of Amazon, maybe setting up your Shopify WooCommerce store, then you are actually building your brand online. So when you're trying to build your brand online, or whenever you're trying to grow your brand, you'll need to make sure that you provide the best experience to your customers. And to provide the best experience, you need to be conversational, because when you go to a store in offline world, you will always find someone to talk to. So as a customer, I want to communicate mostly before I want to take any buying decisions. Let's say if you're not Adidas or Nike, where I don't need to talk to anyone because I know that you are providing me the best product. But if you're a new upcoming company, or if you're a growing company, then I might have doubts. I want to talk to someone to make sure that my doubts are taken care of. And whenever I'm talking to someone, I might be much more flexible in talking to them in WhatsApp or Messenger or Instagram or any of my favorite channel. It sort of depends on your country as well. The first thing, whenever you are trying to grow your e-commerce or trying to be more online or trying to go D2C, you need to make sure you sort of identify all your customer facing channels. It can be WhatsApp or Messenger, or even your email or live chat as well in the website. So once you have all the channel listed down where you have most of your customers available, then you need to make sure that you connect all these channels together. Because if you can't connect all these channels together, you're missing out in big data opportunity. And all this data will be helping you to make sure of more sales, or maybe subscriptions, or manage your customer experience as well. So just to come back to your questions, to start your social or conversational journey, first of all, you need to identify which channels you want to be present in. once you have all these channels listed down, you need to have any strategy for yourself on how you are going to provide your customer support in those channels. Maybe you will do completely by your agents, or maybe you want to do completely by robots or AI, or maybe you want to do an hybrid approach where your agents serve the critical questions, and maybe automations takes care of the very mundane sort of questions in the discovery part, or the return refund part as well. So once you have the channel sorted down and you have your strategy in the place, I think you'll need to think about the tools you are going to spend in, because this is something you cannot do, I mean, just by yourself or just by using Instagram or Facebook. So you need to understand whatever tools are there. So MyAlice being one of the tools into the industry. Once you have the right tool, you start serving the customers.
At RedTrack as well, we always try to explain to our audience that it's super important not only to track like the first conversion, let's say, that happened, the first purchase, but everything that happens after, all the upsells, all the additional sales. In e-commerce, that is basically called post-checkout experience. Let's say, how do you see social commerce solving the issues that you have around post-checkout experience?
So let's first answer why social commerce. So for example, email has been there for a long time, meaning that whenever you will open up your email, you will see thousands of emails coming in from different directions. And in most of the cases, you'll not even open those emails. SMS has become almost the same channel as well. You'll get a lot of SMS coming from different, I would say, networks, other businesses as well, and you tend to not take care of those SMSs as well. But if you think about yourself, where do you spend most of your time? For the common people, they spend most of their time in either in social medias or in messaging channels, talking to their friends or families or colleagues. So the concept of social or commerce or conversational commerce actually breeds from there. So we are trying to bring the e-commerce where the customer lives. So instead of sending them an email for a follow-up, or let's say sending an email of 10% discount or maybe birthday coupon, you can send the same thing in WhatsApp, and there is a massive chance, I mean, when you're sending it in email, there is maybe 30 to 40% chance of the person to actually open and act on it. But whenever we are sending it in WhatsApp, there is more than 95% chance that the customer will be opening it and taking their actions on top of it. The same happens from different other channels for different other reasons. So what you're doing is basically you are migrating your post-checkout experience from the conventional email or SMS channels to all these social channels, with the expectation that your customer will be more familiar with these channels, and there will be higher chances of your customers to look into that and act on that as well. So that's how it can help your e-commerce companies to grow, honestly. But when you are trying to build that, like trying to build maybe a funnel in WhatsApp or maybe a funnel in Instagram or Messenger, it's not easy because there are lots of components. You need to think about how the customer starts their journey, when can you send them the notifications, how you are tracking the conversions as well, how many people are coming into from all these channels, and how you're following on them. All these processes are not new. These have been e-commerces for 30, 40, 50 years. So all these recipes are out there. All these, I would say, the post-checkout experiences are out there. What we are trying to achieve here is just we are taking this experience from the conventional email or SMS channels and moving that into the social media. So that's how we can believe all these new e-commerces or the growing e-commerces can sort of stand out between the big guns or the big e-commerces that are available.
Do you take any steps to measure somehow the changes that happen if you implement the post-checkout experience on social media? Like, do you see the growth in revenue or in sales?
I can talk about use cases. I'll just divert a little bit as well. So one part I'll talk about the pre-sales experience, because we have seen a lot of cases where all these channels helps you to sell more as well, and also the post-checkout experience as well. So one of the use cases we saw in one of our customers in Pakistan, where they were mostly serving their customers through WhatsApp. But whenever they're talking to their WhatsApp and managing their Shopify store, as I've explained it before, so there was a massive data discrepancy. So when they started using MyAlice and our WhatsApp integration as well, they were sort of getting all the conversation into one place and seeing the customer data, all the e-commerce data into one single place as well. And in the last 3 months, as I can see the report, they have increased their only from WhatsApp, and using MyAlice, they have increased their sales by $42,000, which is almost 30% of their monthly revenue that they were getting. So they were uplifted by 30% of their sales revenue. And we saw in another use case is one of our customers from Singapore. They sell mostly customized toys. So they have implemented one automated journey in their WhatsApp channel, and whenever people were going to their website, they were getting notification or a nudge to go to the WhatsApp, because again, Singapore has a lot of WhatsApp users. So they just saved the number in their WhatsApp, and whenever they're free, they're just going to that WhatsApp account. And in that account, our customer actually designed sort of coupon journey for them. So they were just going there, they were getting the coupon and trying out the coupon if they were lucky to win that day's prize or not. In the WhatsApp, as you are mostly going to WhatsApp whenever you're doing all these automations, they are in the first month, they saw uplift of more than 50% in their online sales, because people are much more engaged into their WhatsApp channel, and they were getting all these coupons and buying more products from there as well. So yeah, in our terms, these are sort of, we are seeing different number in different regions and different channels, because we are still, I would say, a little bit early stage in our company. But the roughly average values, what we are seeing in from the customers that are using our product, the power users mostly, they are getting more than around 30 to 50% uplift in their online sales process by using all this social and conversational commerce.
So from what I understand, it really depends on the location, what channel it's better to use. Like for some countries it should be better with WhatsApp, for some countries it's like Facebook, for example, right?
Yeah, exactly. So normally the trend that we see that in most of the countries, there are 3 or 4 channels that are mostly available, but there is one key channel that normally stands out. So as for their strategy, they have to keep them available in all the channels, but they can focus on one particular channels for marketing or remarketing as well. And for the rest of the channels, they can focus on mostly the sales and support. So again, the reference I was giving for Pakistan as well, 90% of their consumers were coming from WhatsApp. Rest of the 10% were coming from different other channels like Instagram, Facebook, and from their website as well. So they just cannot answer these queries, right? They need to cater to this 10% as well. That's how they can build a brand. So at the end of the day, they need to be available in multiple channels, but yeah, in most of the cases, they can focus on one channel.
How do you see the development growth of this industry of social commerce in the upcoming years? Do you see it progressing? What kind of maybe changes you would like to see, or what kind of changes you personally would like to implement in the industry through your company?
The way we see it shaping the future is not about social commerce, or it's not about conversational commerce. It's more about being personal. Whenever you are going an offline store, you can always be personal. But whenever you are going to an e-commerce or online store, it's tough to be personal. Our mission is to make this more personal. The introduction of social commerce or the introduction of conversational commerce is just path towards that. It can be anything. What MyAlice's mission is to make the e-commerce more personal, so that when they're serving the customers, they can actually understand the customer like the way a seller understands when a person comes to them in offline, because they can actually see the person, they can actually talk to the person, they can understand more about their preferences. So we want to bring the same experience in online as well. It might be from let's say Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, or maybe from their website as well, but we actually want to bring this personal experience by providing all the data into one single place, so you have more understanding of your customer, and then you can serve them in a better way. And the starting point can be by doing it manually, and then we can utilize the data to build more AI-based networks so that this can be done automatically as well. And that's how we see the big e-commerces scaling up their personalization with the customers as well.
So you see that there will be more and more the AI approach, where algorithms will be processing the information and finding the answers?
There will be always humans. So even though I come from a machine learning background, I believe there will be always humans. The job of machine learning would be to make the process easier for the customer, because human cannot process millions of data points in one single moment, but machines, they can. So whenever they can process a lot of informations in just a millisecond, they can always augment the human beings by providing them the exact data they would need, and also maybe replicate a few of their actions. We see more and more things will be automated in future, but there will be a threshold, of course, because once you start automating things, there will be new and new things coming up as well. What we see in the future is a blend or a hybrid of human and the automations staying together and making things more personal for the end customers as well.
What it seems to me that like it's great to have technologies, but nothing can substitute the good old human creativity, right?
Yep, because human are creating the technologies.
I hope that will stay like that for a while.
Who knows? I mean, we can't predict the future much as well.
So that is pretty much it about the social commerce. And I wanted to ask, in your opinion, what is the first metric that you should be taking care of in e-commerce, like the most valuable in your opinion?
It depends a lot on the businesses as well. But for me, customer experience is one of the most important metrics that they should think about, because again, e-commerce is not just a one-time thing. So majority of the e-commerces or majority of the brands that actually has become big has done it by providing better customer experience. And these days we have a lot of options. In this world or in the future, what we believe that there will be more importance of customers experience. And if you can actually win in the customer experience side, you can actually make sure that your brand will be growing smoothly as well. So when you think about having a better customer experience, you need to make sure that your response rate are up to the mark. You need to make sure your NPS or CSAT scores are up to the mark. You need to make sure that you have a certain amount of returning customers. When it comes to buying something, we'll go to that store that provides us the best customer service or best customer experience. And when we're talking about customer experience, the brand has to make sure their response rate are they are serving their customers in all of their preferred channels. They have the NPS and CSAT score sorted out as well, and they are having more and more returning users, because returning users means that you're providing them the better experience.
Then what is the least valuable metric in your opinion, which probably many marketers or non-marketers use in e-commerce, but you don't think it's that important?
We track a lot of metrics, and some metrics are important, some metrics are not. So we think a lot about different funnels, retail strategies as well. But I don't think it's possible to find out the least important metrics. It depends a lot on the business you are doing, type of product you are selling.
Usually we hear in the business industry MVP is minimum viable product, but in sports MVP means most valuable player. Who would you name an MVP e-commerce? For example, it can be a developer, a marketer, social commerce tool, or what would be the most valuable player in success of e-commerce?
That depends on the industry. First of all, I do follow a lot of people in Twitter who normally talks about e-commerces and gives a lot of suggestions about e-commerces as well. So one on top of my mind would be Puzi, Nick Sharma. So these people actually talk a lot about e-commerces. There are a lot of D2C businesses as well, and they might be doing pretty well educating the e-commerces and also the shoppers as well. If you think about the companies, I would of course be very lenient to Shopify, because Shopify is sort of building the ecosystem. They're bringing new innovations on each quarter as well, actually shaping the life of all these entrepreneurs. So yeah, I think in terms of if you're targeting any company, I think Shopify is the one that's actually changing the ecosystem a lot.
Our businesses are in completely different niches, I would say, because we handle marketing analytics, we help track paid ads, we help track all the channels that bring conversions to your business in e-commerce. But actually what we do is like we take everything in one place. So the data from your Facebook, Google ads, referrals, email campaigns, we take it on to one place for a business owner, for a marketer to be able to analyze this data, to compare the results of all the various channels and to make those decisions based on data. And basically MyAlice does the same thing in a different way, taking all the social channels together, taking this data to one place, and for the marketer or for the any e-commerce owner to be able to analyze this data and make valuable decisions. I think it's super important in today's business world to make decisions not like flipping a coin, but to actually take into consideration all of the data sets that we can gather. Thank you so much for your time with us, and I hope that we may record something else in the future.
Thanks for having me, Paulina. Have a good day. Bye.